And how do you see the future of lead generation panning out? Where is it going to go?
Well, that's an interesting one again, because we know that we're in the world of AI. I have my own personal views on AI. I think there's a time and a place. I don't think it's right for now for lead generation. There is always a need to have the grunt engine at the back end. There is always the need to have those engaging conversations. I think SEO is always a challenge, especially PPC, because you're paying for your Google AdWords. Those, particularly if you're in the IT space, those AdWords are becoming more and more saturated. And ultimately, it's a bit like paper advertising. There's only ever going to be one company that starts with A, and the rest all fall behind. And it's a bit like SEO activity. There can only ever be number one at the top. So I had a prospect come and talk to me at a recent event, and I shuddered at how much he was spending on Google AdWords and how very little he got back, because it was almost like I've got to do it because everybody is doing it. But actually, it's not always the most lucrative, not at all. But it's not a silver bullet in terms of picking up the phone and having those conversations. But we know, because we hear it from our clients with the case studies and the testimonials that we get, is when you've got that right quality engagement, and again, this is something I talk about a lot, is when you pick up the phone, and I ask my clients this, is what is your objective? Oh, well, it's to get a sale or an appointment. No, it isn't. It's to get an emotional engagement with that prospect. Because unless you get that emotional engagement, it's not going to go anywhere. And so there is still a key need, when all is said and done, to still having that emotional engagement. Because if you don't, it won't progress to anything.
So what advice would you give to sort of IT channel firms out there that are looking to get better results from their IT lead gen activities? What can they do initially to think, right, I can start the process and get better results? You mentioned you've got a prospect there that's not getting the results they're paying for AdWords.
Yeah.
What can they do to sort of change it?
They need to be brave, and they need to accept the fact they need to put dedicated resource to one side to focus on it 100%. Because end user decision maker contact rate is always around 4%.
4%?
4%. If you're an MSP to an end user, it's much higher from a vendor or a distributor to an MSP. Because generally the decision makers answer the phone, or they're sitting next to the person who makes the decision. From an end user perspective, the average end user business, so whether you be a financial services institution, whether you're a hotelier or what have you, the average number of cold calls they get a day is over 100. And when I've said that to people before now, they've looked at me like I'm a bit of a crazy person. But if you think about what a business takes to run, you've got janitorial supplies, human resource services, telcos, IT. If you think about all of those and all the millions of suppliers out there, all hunting in that same ground, you can suddenly see how many cold calls there are.
Yeah.
So any MSP, whether you are a one-man band, or you've got 2 or 3 guys in your team, or you're fortunate enough to maybe have, a team of upwards of 10 people, if you're serious about lead generation and optimizing your data, you need to ring fence resource that is dedicated to that. And you're looking at 100 calls a day, every day, day in, day out, of which 50 to 60 of those calls need to be new business logo, because the rest of them then will be the callbacks, the scheduled callbacks. So I liken it to, we must be dead on the inside to do this job, because it's just one call after the other. But they're the ones, when you do get through, it makes it all the more sweeter, because you're having that emotional engagement. And that's why it's not for everyone, and that's why it can be deemed as not working, because not everyone does it right.
Yeah. What are you seeing as the biggest mistakes that businesses are making when they're trying to build pipeline?
They don't follow up. So, as I kind of alluded to a statistic earlier on, is once you've spoken to somebody and you've maybe sent a proposal over, or you've sent them some information, it's about follow-up. Never expect that end user to come back to you when they say they will. Oh yeah, leave it with me, Dave. I'll call you on Friday. Don't put the power in your prospect's hand. And I know it's 101 stuff, but actually say to your prospect, okay, so I'm going to send this over to you now. Looking at your calendar, what time can I phone you back next Friday? Does AM or PM work for you? Own
Sales
it.
101.
Absolutely. 101. Own it. Yeah. Don't give them the responsibility to come back to you, because guess what? It never will.
They just won't. What are the future plans for Telev8? How are you planning to grow? 3-year-old business. You said you've done well the first couple of years. What's the plans for it?
Oh, so like any new business owner, you dream big. And myself and Paul have always had great designs to look at doing an office in Dubai. That's ultimately a goal that we've got there. We've both loved Dubai from a business perspective. So that's on the cards ideally. US, who knows? We may break out into there, but Dubai is definitely on the cards, 100%.
Fantastic. And if any of the listeners want to learn more about Telev8, how's the best way to get in touch with yourself, apart from doing a cold call? Well, they won't have your number, will they, TJ? So if they can't get through on the phone, how's the best way to get in touch with you guys?
Well, LinkedIn. So you send me a personal message on LinkedIn, Tara-Jane Sloane. We've also got our LinkedIn page, Telev8, on there. My personal email address is tara-jane@telev8, and that's spelled TELEV8.com. Or visit us on our website, so www.telev8.com. And it'll either be myself or a member of our team will reach out to you. We schedule a Teams call, and we just really we practice what we preach. We understand what is important about your brand, about your business, and then we look at taking that conversation further to see if there's a natural synergy between both parties.
Brilliant. TJ, you've been a great guest. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you, Marc.
Thank you.
Thank you.